Hey, it's 28mm RPG, Rick here, with his +1 Toque of Knowledge. Going to talk a little bit about the session I had last night with Shadow from Shadow and Sun. Just want to say it was pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It runs maybe about an hour and a half, maybe two hours for the session, I think. And then we end up talking a little bit about, role playing and some other topics as well, kind of, after the game. So yeah, check that out if you feel like it. Really cool response video here from none other than the master of ceremonies himself, Shauner, who brought up this guy. His name is, channel name is, let's see if I find it here, C.A. Berlitz. If I'll also put a link to his videos on there. So Shauner's doing some extracurricular activities, doing some response videos on what people say role playing is and stuff like that. And I thought it was a pretty good one. So I just want to kind of mention a couple of things. One thing that Shauner was talking about in that video was, about players playing their character. And I think that's important, that and something that I did in this session, particularly with Shadow, is I went through everything on his character. He made up his own character and everything. It was all cool. And I went ahead and I wrote down on one side of my paper here all his skills. Because, when I run a Traveler game, I like to have those skills written down so that because when I do skills, if the character has a skill of a 1, 2, or a 3, most of the time you don't really have to roll for the skill, because you already know the skill level in your head has gone up. If they have a 0, they're pretty much trained in that skill. If they have a 1, they're getting on to be pretty professional at it. 2, they're going to be super exceptional at what they're doing. And 3, well, they're going to be like one of a kind. And then 4 and onwards, it's just like, yeah, they know how to do pretty much everything in that field of skill. So what I end up doing is, when it's something mundane, or if it's something that they should know how to operate or do, I just let them do it. Because what's the point in making them roll? They should only have to roll if they are under duress. So if the big scary monster is, coming towards them and they need to start that car, anybody would get unnerved and would have to make some sort of a check, right? Or drop the keys or something crazy like that. It makes it exciting, but when it comes down to just the mundane operation of a vehicle, a 0 skill level suffices. And then, a 1 means you're pretty darn good at it. You can parallel park and all that kind of stuff. But, 0, you should be able to know how to operate a car, or at least something that you are familiar with. I know sometimes you can go from one car to another and go, where's the starting button on here? Or do I put a key in here? You don't, sometimes they operate a little bit differently. So you have to kind of keep that in mind too. There might be some differences in that. But I think it's important as a game master to go ahead and write down the skill list. Just the skill list is really all you need. so that when it comes to certain activities or things that they run into, you know that they are skilled enough to operate such a thing or device or item, and you don't have to go ahead and call for a roll out of the blue. And I hate calling for rolls out of the blue, especially when they're unneeded. If he has a skill level of 2 in piloting, I'm not going to make him go ahead and start making rolls all the time in order for him to pilot the craft to the destination. That's BS. It's only if there's something going on, he needs to dodge, enemy laser fire or something. Then yeah, make the rolls, make it exciting. That's why you do the rolls, is to make that situation exciting. And there are odds, it's definitely odds that he may get hit, he may not get hit, he may dodge the fire, he may roll exceptionally, and stuff like that. So I just make my skills rolls based off of that, and that's why I do the thing that I do. And I think it makes the gameplay a lot more faster. At least it feels like it makes the game a lot more faster. And the players appreciate not having to roll all the time, because what's more infuriating if you have a 3 in a skill and you roll snake eyes when all you were doing was trying to park. It just doesn't make sense. So I could understand if he's trying to park and he needs to get that spot before another guy gets it. Sure, there might be a bit of a rush for it or something like that. But yeah, otherwise, no, don't do that. It was a good session, I think. There's probably a couple of things I forgot that in one section that he had his helmet on. So I almost I started blurting out what it smells like in a room, and I forgot. I'm getting old. so sometimes you gotta you kind of dismiss that kind of thing. I kind of just had a duh moment, and yeah, I guess it happens once in a while, but it didn't lessen the gameplay or anything. So I kind of laughed. He snickered too, and then I kind of explained that, oh yeah, the mist is seeping up on his faceplate. It's obviously some sort of moisture trap here in this room, and he apparently had a good time. So it all worked. At least he said. And please, if you're ever in my games, don't blow smoke up my ass. Be honest. I can use critique. It helps me get better. I want to get better at what I do. And I can't do that with you guys all just saying, oh, that was awesome. Woo! Sure, if it's awesome, cool. I appreciate you guys saying. But, yeah, I hear a couple of you guys out there. And yeah, you point out some of the mistakes I do and stuff like that, and that's all cool. Sometimes I do certain things, like in the rolling sequences of the players, a little differently. Like sometimes I will, depending on what the game, what kind of a feel of game we want to have, I will have them roll the character traits one by one and set them exactly how in order. Or sometimes I'll have it where they can assign those to whatever attribute they want to. So it's fine either way. Sometimes it's more exciting to go ahead and roll an entirely random character, and see what happens with it. And other times, maybe you are trying to pinpoint something. You want to have a scout. You want to have a noble. So you go ahead and coordinate all your rolls and put them in the exact slots where you want them in order to make the best, most efficient character in that particular job or career. So it's entirely up to you. With the game last night with Shadow, I just said, just roll whatever. In fact, when I had my players go through a similar kind of little practice thing, I just said to him, okay, Spencer, what skills do you want to have? He says, well, I want to be a pilot. Okay, so I wrote down pilot. He goes, I want to know vacuum suit. Okay, so I wrote that down. He goes, I want to be a melee guy. So melee, that's melee. And snub pistol was another one of his skills. So I just wrote all those down. I asked Josh, same thing. What kind of a character did you want to play? He goes, oh, I want to be the ship's gunner. So I gave him a gunnery skill, and then we just did it one off. It didn't matter how many terms they went through or anything. We were just doing a practice session in that case, and utilizing just the skills if we needed to. So I knew what their roles were on this practice ship, and I was able to practice the aspects of role playing, which means me not having to go say, what do you do? When I stop talking, with my explanation of what they see, they instantly key in and they started talking as if they were talking to themselves in character, or they would be asking questions to the actions that they do as their characters. It's like, I'm bringing up the sensors in order to do a scan on this thing. And away they go, right? They're doing something as their characters, and I'm able to reply to them, answer them, because they want to know more about what they're seeing. And that was the whole idea, to keep that all within the realm of in character play. So what I did for prep in this whole concoction was I basically had an idea. I said, okay, we're going to have kind of like, I'm going to kind of spoof something that I've seen in a traveler module before, obviously with the lab ship. So I just went ahead and made a photocopy of the lab ship out of the book, and just wrote down a couple of little cursory notes, put some arrows so that I could keep my brain, on where one end of the ship leads to the next. Because it's kind of a little weird, wonky when you kind of look at it, and you want to keep that straight. You don't want to be like, oops, I put you on the wrong end of the ship here when you left the one end, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to like, oops, let's do that over. No. So I had a couple ideas, so I just wrote down on here the Tyrix system, and then I wrote down Tyrix 7 is the gas giant. I wrote down what was it here? Tyrix 3 remnant ancient relic colony, and also wrote down here that one of the moons also has a colony on it as well. So this lab ship, the story behind it, was it basically was checking out things, finding artifacts, found these artifacts from this ancient technology. And what happened was they had an android on board, and something happened to the android. He got slightly damaged, and they thought, oh, well, we're missing a couple of chips and stuff like that, which could help our android buddy here. And they thought, well, maybe we'll replace it with one of the chips from the ancient technology here and see if that works. And, bad things happened after that. The the android decided to take it on himself to go ahead and make him stronger, faster, and more deadlier, and kept on enhancing itself. And that was the underlying story which Shadow and his co-pilot Frank would uncover. And at first, I had it open so that okay, they would go down. Either they could go down to one of the planet's surfaces and find something like that. The ruins there. They might find because I didn't have the ship's boat attached to this thing. The ship's boat would be down on one of the planet's surfaces, and one of the I was thinking maybe I could have one of the crew members down there, hiding away because they knew what happened on the ship and on the lab ship or something like that. Maybe they escaped and they were feeling bad that they didn't rescue one of their crew members that is kind of stuck there. And that would have been a kind of an idea. But instead, they went right to the lab ship. Shadow went right to the lab ship. And we ended up just going from there right into the mystery. So I build my game so that it can go all over the place and I'm not stuck. Because the thing you don't want to do is put yourself in a situation where you're designated, okay, so this is going to be a scene, and this is going to be a scene, and this is going to be a scene, and they must all go in kind of an order. And if they all go out of order, then I'm going to get jumbled up, and it's not going to make any sense. No, don't do that. Don't do that. This is just make little areas, put down some notes. And then when things get more, just get yourself enough to do that first session. Your first session doesn't take up, 400 rooms of a complex or, a vast, huge swath of area on land. You just need to have the basics for where they start in each spot. And just have a few notes on each area and go from there. And if they continue on in episode 2, and because I do kind of lend my stuff when I create something to go on a few sessions. So it is kind of like a little mini campaign or something like that. I know Sean doesn't like doing he only likes doing one shots. I don't. I like doing a little bit more than just a one shot. Even though I'll do one shots too. You've seen me do them as well on here. So, I'm fine either way. But sometimes I do like to have the players, get used to the skin of their characters, and over time they become better and better at what they're doing as their character. They start getting used to it. So, having little locations and some ideas written down and not going into, oodles and oodles of paperwork idea. All I had is this and just the 2 pages. All I need is a 2-page spread and I'm good to go. That's it. You don't need much. I mean, some of you may need lots. Some of you may want to have, for me, it's an exercise with the brain, which challenges me and makes me better at doing it, being spontaneous. It's not for everybody, I guess. Some people would want to just go ahead and write down a slew of notes for each area and might have about 3 or 4 little areas in each spot that they detail out some sort of explanation or something like that. Me, it's mainly just maybe about 3 or 4 words. And when it comes to approaching that area, I have 3 or 4 keywords that lets me describe it with the least amount of headache as possible. So, and I let the player's imagination fill in the spots for everything else, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go into every intricate detail of what this looks like and blah blah blah. Just give them the bullet points version of what they see, what's important, and then proceed from there. Let their imaginations fill in for a lot of that, and yeah, go from there. What else? Did I have anything else here? Oh, so I mean, the session went on. We stopped it in order to kind of. I thought it would be going on a little bit too long if we had like a complete session from all the way through. But I thought I would stop it in a spot where it would be a good entry for another ship to come in and another crew, and a chance for them to see what was happening and intervene in some sort of way. So it's a cool idea that way. Might work for a little bit later on, and then we could always bring back Shadow's character with another group and interact with that as well. So that's basically all I have to say about this whole thing. So yeah, there's a few things I still want to try to improve in that. I want to try to keep myself a little bit more in the narrative instead of the explanative. So, to narrate more instead of explain. And that I'm going to have to work on too. So something to think about. And something you guys might think about that too whenever you decide on possibly exploring this aspect of role playing. And the cool thing is we had a really good talk, Shadow and I, afterwards about why are people so weird about this whole thing about role playing? Why are they so, I don't know if it's defensive or anything else about the way that they've played. I mean, sure, we who are trying to promote actual role playing are saying, okay, role playing is actually this. When a lot of players and people out there are like going, no, it's all rolling dice, and you can talk about the rules and stuff, and you can talk out of character. That's all good. You can do it. Just as long as you're having fun. Well, of course, but if you're doing it to be in character and try to be, in the you may have never tried it this way, and you might not know what you're missing out on. A lot of you guys are watching this, and I'm seeing for my live plays, I'm getting at least on the average 22 minutes of people actually continuously watching. And that's good. Usually, if people are watching something like a live play, it doesn't last very long. They're like, oh, I had enough of this. Bloop, away you go. I'm glad that I'm retaining a lot of people throughout the play and keeping them engaged and intrigued. And that's the whole idea here, is to create something that's intriguing, a mystery, something that engages you as the watcher. And even though, I shouldn't be saying it that way, because this is supposed to be like a interpersonal kind of thing with other players to play and enjoy the experience. We're not doing this to go ahead and broadcast it, because it's more of a personal thing. But at the same time, I'm thinking, if I don't record this and I don't have a way to get feedback or have a way that I can look at it again and reflect on how I would change things, I wouldn't know better. And so I wouldn't have the ability to go back to it and say, what can I do to make my game mastering better? and reflect on that and try to apply newer ideas, newer principles to help me become, you know, great at my field. And I'm not great now. I'm trying to become as good as I possibly can. And without doing this, I don't think I would be able to. I wouldn't be able to look back and say, look at the mistakes that I've made and correct them. So even if you guys out there are loath to record your own stuff and put it out onto YouTube, at least maybe record it, vocally, so that you can listen to it in your own private, area and listen back to it and see how you've performed and how you can improve just by listening to it and thinking, how can we get to a better, headspace in role playing and get into that, unique genre of theater of the mind as well. I mean, theater of the mind isn't for everybody, but that's the thing. That's a theme here on my channel, is getting to that point where you can be role players and play your role as your character and enjoy a good mystery of some form that will make you think, oh, that was an awesome tale that we went through. Like we created something really, really cool, and work on that. So, once again, if you guys like what you see and think you want to go ahead and help me learn or learn from what I'm learning, feel free to come on in and subscribe. Subscribe, I tell you. Subscribe. Just do it. Do it now. Hit the button. Hit it. Hit it.